Resolution 203 is approving a grant agreement with the Broad Center for the management of school systems in the amount of $29,700 with matching funds in the amount of $60,300 plus an additional approximately $30,000 in benefits and taxes for the employment of a Broad resident as part of the Broad Residency Program for the period beginning August 25th, 2014 and ending July 30th, 2015.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it so we can have discussion. Commissioner Bustle.
In this responsibility to the schools.
Can you pull your microphone down?
In our responsibility to what we had in a lawsuit back in 2003 says the county executive shall verify the legality as to the form, sufficiency of funds and compliance with the bidding process. I know some of this is not a bidding process, but has the money been accepted before this was sent to us, and was it done properly in the order it was to be done in? Was there TCA codes violated? If there were, what is the legality on that? And I'm kind of at a point to where this makes the second one in less than 3 months that we've had to go back, where the school board has had to redo the motion to get it in proper form that comes to us. And where can we do anything to say, let's follow the TCA code? Can we, I mean, how do we get around this to where we have to redo something when a process or a law or a form that we use is broken? So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I understand we already accepted funds and went through it before it was even voted on by the Board of Education.
Mr. Lodrick.
Yes. Well, the issue before the board right now is a resolution that has been approved by the Knox County Board of Education. It is before you in legal form. It even states within it that it is a contract that is what we refer to as now for then, and that it is here to be a corrective action by the board. All that being said, the issue before this board is whether or not you approve the Broad contract. The Broad contract has been sent here as approved by the Board of Education. This is not a consent item because it does require matching funds. That's the only reason it's not on consent under the agreement. So it's a policy issue for this board. Anything beyond that, in terms of what I was hearing Commissioner Bessler state, are all issues that are before the Board of Education to address. It's their, they have total control over management and control of the operation of schools. And that's by statute as well as by the consent agreement. That being said, any of the issues related to operation of the schools belongs to them. The only thing before you is a matching grant to be approved for or not be approved for it by this body.
What if it's not approved by this body? What happens?
Okay, if it's not approved by this body, then the grant is rejected. Then the Board of Education will have to then contact the grantor, and they'll have to work out something with the grantor and see where it goes from there. There's not a clear-cut answer, yes or no. It's still back to the people who are wanting to grant the money. The original contract has been totally revised, and the grantor is in total agreement with all the issues that have been revised to bring it into legal form before this board. The Board of Education has debated the issue concerning the issues that have actually been discussed here or questioned here. The Board of Education has also asked for a policy update on their DM, which is the policy of the board whereby they accept grants, and they'll have that action on their body, I think, at their next board meeting, if I recall correctly, or maybe the one after that. I don't really know what it's going to be. So, once again, all of the issues of concern have been addressed by the board as it relates to the contract before you. Anything else related to that, the legalities, illegalities, or things that are up to the Board of Education and the Law Department and how they want to deal with any issues, and I don't think those issues are before this body.
All right, we have two people. Is there any discussion right now? We got two people that have signed up to speak. Mr. Robert Taylor. Sir, if you'll give us your name and address for the record, you'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Robert Taylor. I live at 1735 Blackwood Drive, Knoxville 37923. Good evening. I'm speaking to you today on the matter of Resolution 203, the retroactive approval of a $29,700 grant from the Broad Center, which requires matching taxpayer funds in the amount of approximately $90,300 in order to employ a Broad resident within KCS as part of the Broad Residency Program. This matching funds grant was previously accepted unilaterally on the part of Superintendent McIntyre, bypassing both the Board of Education and the County Commission. This is in direct violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 49-115C, as well as KCS BOE Policy DM entitled Grants Management. To knowingly and willfully withhold financial information from this funding body is a Class E felony in Tennessee. During 1991, in Tennessee Supreme Court case Estep versus Peters, an appointed school superintendent was ousted from office for a similar offense, setting a clear precedent for the interpretation of this law. Nonetheless, despite the counsel of Knox County's law director, which distinctly stated that the terms of the grant were illegal, 5 of 9 members of our Board of Education nonetheless voted for it to be approved in an ex facto manner. And now, the final decision is in your hands. I respectfully request this body vote no on this resolution. The handling of this grant on the part of the superintendent has been highly suspect and anything but forthright. Dr. McIntyre stated to the Board of Education that he acted in good faith in his acceptance of this grant, and that his unilateral acceptance of it, in violation of both state law and BOE policy, was simply an oversight, a misunderstanding, or a matter of semantics. Dr. McIntyre has, however, correctly followed the exact same procedure for other matching funds grants from other entities. What should make this grant from the Broad Center any different? Consider the fact that at the initial time this grant should have been presented to the Board of Education in fall 2014, the superintendent faced a likely 5-4 vote against its approval due to an interim seat being temporarily held in the 2nd District by BOE member John Fugate, who had voiced opposition to many of his initiatives. Mr. Fugate was appointed on August 25, 2014. The Broad grant letter was dated September 19, 2014. The superintendent unilaterally signed the grant on September 12, 2014. Consider also the superintendent's own relationship with the Broad Center, part of the larger Broad Foundation. Dr. McIntyre himself is a graduate of the Broad Superintendent's Academy, and since his arrival here, he has effectively created a pipeline, placing one Broad-affiliated individual after another into specially created, high-paying central office positions. Prior to their installation in our school system, these Broad Fellows held executive positions at Procter & Gamble, Wachovia Bank, Bank of America, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Genzyme Corporation, and Taco Bell. Not an educator among them, not a single one. Yet their continued presence has cost our taxpayers over $500,000 and counting in salaries and benefits. How can our superintendent continue to justify and to legally fill these positions while at the same time cutting or eliminating programs and teaching staff, cuts that directly affect the children in our classroom as part of ongoing reductions in force? How many teaching positions could instead be funded with these salaries? How many teaching assistants? How many school counselors? As a former KCS teacher, I remain concerned with the direction in which KCS's current leadership is taking our school system, a leadership which apparently behaves as if it is above the law when it suits their ends, a leadership that sets a poor example for our students and our children. As a parent, I can see no need for the fancifully titled positions created for these Broad Fellows when my own kids are being subjected to ever-increasing class sizes, excessive testing, and a revolving door of teachers and principals. My kids need teachers who are valued and supported by their administration far more than they need a director of human capital strategies, a deputy accountability officer, or a director of planning and improvement occupying some office downtown. Finally, as a taxpayer, I resent seeing tax dollars illegally funneled away from classrooms and directed toward nebulous central office positions created to serve an outside agenda rather than supporting our students and teachers. Commissioners, each of you has sworn an oath to defend the state constitution and the Knox County Charter. 5 members of our Board of Education, however, appear to be primarily concerned with defending the superintendent. Please do not follow in their footsteps. Please right this wrong. Please vote no on this resolution. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Taylor? Next is Jennifer Owen. Ms. Owen, if you give your name and address for the record, please. You have 5 minutes.
I'm Jennifer Owen, 2217 Fair Drive. You and I and the public are well aware that the Knox County Director of Schools accepted a matching grant from the Broad Foundation without presenting it, without having it voted on, by either the Knox County Board of Education or by County Commission, this body, as required by law. That illegal act remained hidden, not for a few days or a few months, but for an entire year, which is conveniently the length of the grant. Whether this is an impropriety, a crime against government, a felony, or something else, really depends on whether that act was performed willingly and knowingly. Since many such contracts have been handled correctly, including previous grants with the Broad Foundation, which County Commission approved as far back as August 2010, it seems quite clear that this was not a failure to understand the law. This was done willingly and knowingly. Rather than dealing with this illegal grant acceptance, 5 members of our Board of Education have chosen to become complicit by attempting to cure the problem with a vote to approve the grant retroactively. I doubt that the public expected our elected Board of Education to abdicate their authority and allow one employee to have such sweeping, unchecked, and reckless power. It is my hope that our county commissioners realize the gravity of not only allowing but encouraging illegal activity to continue while the public looks on helplessly. This is not a problem that needs to be cured. It needs to be corrected. Several weeks ago, I spoke to our Board of Education regarding the possibility of ouster as a corrective measure. However, this action should not be the responsibility of Knox County citizens. After all, we have already done our due diligence in voting for candidates we believed in and trusted to ensure that the laws are carried out ethically and responsibly. Additionally, we have a tax-supported Office of the District Attorney which should be investigating and correcting this situation. According to the University of Tennessee County Technical Assistance Service, ouster proceedings may be instituted by the Attorney General, District Attorney General, or County Attorney, either on their own initiative or after a complaint has been made. Though I realize that a group of 10 citizens may also combine their personal funds to retain an attorney and begin the ouster process, I don't believe that should be up to us. It should already be happening, and our county commissioners should be ensuring it, whether against one or an entire group of government officials who have chosen to ignore the law. I hope we can depend on this body to discuss this matter with the district attorney rather than also becoming complicit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Ms. Owen? All right. Any more discussion amongst the board? All right. The motion is to approve. Oh, Commissioner Brantley. Or Commissioner Thomas.
Yes, appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. You know, the legality of whatever happened or didn't happen notwithstanding, I'm not comfortable being in the business of cleaning up another house's problems. And of all what we just went through with the budget, all the emails, all the phone calls I got, all the people that talked to me when they ran into me about supporting the schools and supporting our teachers, as far as this is concerned, for some reason, there's not a single person that was in support of me voting for this. And I am representing these people, and this seems to be their wishes, and that's the reason I won't be supporting this.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Questions, please? Thank you, sir. Sir, given the memorandum of understanding and the possibility of $1 million worth of cuts in the administration, do you feel this is a wise spending of taxpayers' money?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, do I believe what is a wise spending of taxpayer dollars?
Committing roughly $90,000 to this contract annually.
Well, you know, we talked last week about the position that Ms. Handler occupies and the work that she has done, and yes, I do feel it's of value. We have some roughly 8,000 employees in the Knox County Schools, and we're talking about one of them. And I think the skill set that she brings to the table and the work that she's been able to do has been valuable to the Knox County Schools. She's been able to work with our operational areas to identify key performance indicators to ensure that they're as efficient and effective as they can be. She's been leading and facilitating some of the work around how do we make sure that all the student assessments that we do are either required by the federal government or are valuable to inform instruction for our teachers. And so, yes, I believe it is a good investment of resources, and it's been valuable to our school system to have access to the skills and abilities that she's brought to the table.
Did she receive any matching grant money at her previous position in Nevada?
I don't know.
Are you aware of what her salary was in 2013 there?
I'm not.
A little bit over $41,000.
All right. I guess one question, Dr. McIntyre, I have is if, I mean, is she just a one-year employee, or is she going to be someone you keep around? Is this a yearly contract with Broad, or is this just a one-time grant you're going to keep her on? Or?
No, it's a one-time grant. The question at the end of the period, which is August 20th or July 30th, I believe it is. The question at the end of the period is, do we want to continue her employment in the position that she has held or not? And that's an independent decision from.
That's a board issue.
Well, it's a decision on the part of the Knox County Schools, but it is independent of the Broad agreement. It's independent of the grant itself. That would be a question that a decision we would make here locally.
So in essence, I guess my understanding is this is, if you vote no, you send $30,000 back to California, or wherever Broad is. I don't know where they're at. So in essence, that's exactly what we'd be doing. Commissioner McKenzie.
Yeah, that was my point. This is going to cost the taxpayers $30,000 at this point. The water's over the dam, or will be in a month. So these funds are pretty much spent. I mean, she's gotten a salary. So I guess I'm trying to understand why we would vote no. I mean, I'm fine with never bringing another Broad fellow here. I'm fine with that, and I'm betting the school board is going to be fine with that. But I think if we're going to be fiscally responsible, we're basically turning down $30,000, and our taxpayers, the money's been spent. So we're going to have to take out, at this point, $30,000 out of a potential teacher's assistant or potential, I don't know, across the street hire or, toilet paper, something. That money has to come from somewhere to pay this money because it's pretty much been spent. This, to me, is just a cleanup. If folks want to make a point, I think there are better places to make a point than us paying $30,000.
Commissioner Smith, I'm sorry. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It may be true, Sam, but there's no use making the same mistake twice. I feel like that we need to send a message, and I think the school board has already received that message, and I think they will be more diligent in the future in the way these things are handled, and I'll be voting no.
Mr. Bustler.
Commissioner McKenzie, I hear what you say about spending the money, but the money was spent before it was approved, and that should bother us to no end. That should absolutely, how can we look at the people that voted us in office and said, oh, they went ahead and spent it, so it's spent anyway, so we're not going to do anything about it? And is it what is our responsibility to the voters? I have had nearly 20 or 30 emails come across and nobody's in favor of keeping this on. So are we representing the people? Are we just going to say, okay, we'll let the superintendent or them, to do whatever they want to and not follow the law? Something's got to be said, something's got to be done to say, hey, it stops here, let's follow what we're supposed to be doing. And that's my comment, and that's why I can't support it either.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This position has been paid this year, correct? The person has been drawing salary.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
With the contract that hasn't been ratified in the proper channels.
Yes, sir.
So we won't be spending an additional $30,000. We will just be not receiving that part of the grant. Or have we already received that part of the grant whenever we thought it went through the first time?
Has the grant been received, Dr. McIntyre? I guess for Bob or? Yes. There's Mr. Thomas.
Bob Thomas, 912 South Gay Street. Yes, the grant money has been received.
And it has been spent on the purpose that they sent it for?
Yes, I assume.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of like sending your kid to the grocery store for a gallon of milk, and it comes back with a pocket full of candy.
Commissioner, are you done, Commissioner?
No. Okay. And this contract will end in less than 30 days?
Yes.
End of July.
I don't imagine they would ask for the money back.
You don't think they what?
I don't think they'll ask for the money back. I mean, in essence, the contract was fulfilled. We're just not approving it if we vote against it.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2 points. Let me respond. That's a supposition. I can't say that's. We have no guarantees that they won't ask for that money back. So we will have to write a check potentially for. And to me, it would be the right thing to do. If you all want to vote not to do it, no, that's not paying your bills. If we're voting not to do it, we darn well better send that money back.
Not our money.
It's all our money. We vote for the budget. That's our money. That's the one thing we do. And I've said this years ago. I'm sorry. We represent 500,000 people. 30 people sending me an email does not mean we're doing the people's business. That does not mean that. No way does that mean that. We can't say that we've gotten 50 emails or 500 emails and we say that we know what the citizens want. We get out there and we talk, we engage. That's a ploy, gentlemen. Don't let that drive you. Listen, but don't say that that's indicative or representative of all the people, because it's not. It is not. So again, and I'm talking general. I'm not talking on this specific issue, but I'm not going to let those 20 emails that I've gotten make me spend $30,000 worth of taxpayers' money. That's what we're going to be doing. And if we're saying, no, they're okay with it, let's just keep the money, that's not the contract. That's not the process. Let me say, that's not the process. If we didn't complete the process, if we vote this thing down, we need to write the big A check to the Bro Center. Again, I think the message has been received. If we're really trying to send a message, I think we've sent that message. I think the school board, with a 5-4 vote, sent that message. I think everyone knows that the message is sent. If the next one comes through, vote it down. It's going to come through the right way, otherwise they're not going to get the money. So, but again, this issue is beyond us. This issue is done. I don't like that it's done, but the money's been spent. So this is a paperwork issue, and we do that. We have done that. We have cleaned up things that we've not done correctly in the past. They have brought things back. Hey, we didn't we didn't do this properly, we're going to bring it back before the commission. So this isn't new.
Commissioner Bustler.
Again, we had a lawsuit back in 2003, which it said that the county mayor or the county executive has to have approved the expenditures of this money and be presented to us. It was not done. It's not a case of where, well, it's already been spent, let's just go ahead and approve it anyway. That's sending a different message. If we go ahead and approve it, then we're saying, okay, it's all right to mess up and just keep messing up, and we'll go ahead and keep coming back and asking for forgiveness instead of asking permission like they're supposed to do. Now, it's up to us to decide, hey, what are we going to do? That we've already paid for it is what Commissioner McKenzie said. If we've already paid for something, do we have to pay for it a second time? Are we going to pay for it a second time? Are we legally bound to do that? And let me ask the law director, since it's already been paid for, do we have to refund the money?
Those will be issues that, depending on how this body votes, that I'll have to address with the school board and the legalities of where it leaves them. But right now, that issue is not before anybody, meaning legislative or administrative board. So the answer to that will depend on how you vote, and it will depend also on the consultation with potential legal actions associated that would probably be have to be discussed with the Board of Education and what they want to do.
All right, let's do a roll call vote starting in the 11th.
So remind me again what I'm voting for.
You're voting to, yes is to approve, no is to disapprove.
No.
Commissioner Brantley votes no. Commissioner Thomas.
No.
Commissioner Thomas votes no. Commissioner Brown.
No.
Commissioner Brown votes no. Commissioner Wright.
Pass.
Commissioner Wright passes. Commissioner Bustler.
No.
Commissioner Bustler votes no. Commissioner Anders.
No.
Commissioner Anders votes no. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
No.
Commissioner Schoonmaker votes no. Commissioner Owenby.
No.
Commissioner Owenby votes no. Commissioner Smith.
No.
Commissioner Smith votes no. Commissioner Broyles is out. Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie votes yes. Does the pass wish to vote?
Yes, the pass wishes to vote no.
Commissioner Wright votes no.
Motion fails 9-1. Or 1-9, I'm sorry. Motion fails 1-9. All right.